Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Hi there.
Hi there.
How you is?
Is good. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome to another episode, guys. This week's episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Woo woo! Welcome back, you guys. Shall we just jump in with the Patreon shout-outs?
I think we should.
Okay.
Who's new?
We got one new person in our Patreon family.
Yes.
We would like to say thank you to Sarah Marie.
Yeah.
Woo woo!
Welcome to the family, Sarah Marie. Now, those of you that don't know, you're just listening to the podcast for the first time, some of the benefits of our Patreon is you get exclusive content. So we do a monthly episode that's exclusive to the Patreons. Also, you get all of our episodes a week early, and all the content on there is ad-free, which is really, really nice. And then also you guys can interact with us on the platform. We've also done a few live streams as well, which is good. So you can always
we will do more in the future.
Exactly. So you guys can kind of interact with us and let us know what you want us to talk about on there as well. That's kind of what we're using the Patreon for. But yeah, so check it out at patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Yeah. Anyways.
How you is, Rose?
God damn, I don't know. This week was weird.
It was a strange week, wasn't it? And it's only Tuesday.
I know, but I feel like we haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while.
That's weird.
Happy Korean New Year.
Ooh, yes. Today is Korean New Year or Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I celebrated that yesterday with my family.
So what would be like a typical, like, just to kind of give our viewers, those of you that aren't in Korea or aren't Korean, how would you what is the typical like celebration, or what do you guys do for the Lunar New Year?
Well,
enlighten me.
So I shall. So tradition is, and we kind of follow this tradition still, not to the T, okay? But tradition is all of our family gathers, and usually you gather in like the oldest son's house. So my dad is actually the oldest son of his family.
Okay.
So everyone in his side of the family would gather to like our place. Okay. If we were in Korea, obviously we moved, so that changed.
If you don't have any sons, though, would it be the oldest daughter?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or all the daughters get married off and nobody gets a celebration. I have no idea.
No, because then you know what happens is those daughters actually, oh my God.
Yeah, so the daughters don't actually, this is why it's fucked up, okay? Yeah. Tradition, sometimes you fucked up, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's why everybody wanted a son, right? This brings the whole thing back because the son, everything stays within that family of the son. So like daughters will leave that original family and go and basically be the
part of the other family.
Basically like a servant for the other family.
Yeah, because then if you think about
exactly.
it, like their sons are going to celebrate their Korean New Year and bring their wives.
Exactly.
So
yeah, basically my mom doesn't go to I don't know exactly. Maybe you end up going to both eventually, but tradition is that you go to your oldest son's or the oldest siblings' house. You bring all your family, whatever, and then you get like everything ready. Like all the women cook, of course. Anyway,
this is what happened in your household, Rose.
Yes, it definitely does. Well, my mom is a good cook, and
your mom's an amazing cook.
And it's obviously at this point like my dad helps out. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he
helps out now. But I think traditionally, again, like men don't really help out much, but they do other things. Anyways.
Yeah.
So what you do is like basically the point is we do this on like Korean Thanksgiving too, which is like Mid-Autumn Festival. But basically you like have a celebration for the your past ancestors.
Oh, your past ancestors.
So like for example, like my dad, we put two pictures. Okay, so one picture is of my grandpa and one picture is of my grandma. They're both passed away, but it's to like kind of honor the past.
Okay.
And then we like put food on the table, like a bunch of food on the table, have their pictures there, and it's like you serve them food. Okay, that's like the kind of mentality behind it.
Yeah.
So it's like they're eating food, and then we kind of like bow, and then we do all this like traditional stuff, serve them like sake, serve them some kind of like alcohol, it's like we're having a meal. Okay. So they're having a meal, we wait for them to have a meal, and then afterwards we clear the table, and then of course everyone else enjoys the food. that's kind of like the tradition. Now, of course, I'm sure there's other elements, which I think like parents give their kids like money. Today, my mom's like, oh, we didn't give you any money this year. I was like, are you still supposed to give us money? Because I don't know at what age until.
Do they give them like little, is it kind of like
I
similar
think that's
to
Chinese New Year.
They give the red envelope, right?
Exactly. So Chinese New Year, you get red envelopes, but Korean, I think they just like give you money.
Yeah.
We don't really use red envelopes as far as I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're supposed to like give your kids money. And then I was like, I haven't got money for many years.
Like, I think you guys are owing me some back payments. Remember all those years that you didn't give me any money?
But yeah, so that's kind of like tradition. And then I don't know, maybe you play some games and stuff like that. We haven't actually celebrated it for a long time since like we moved, you know. So I don't really remember too much, but we've actually been doing it here, which is pretty like cool.
Yeah.
So I kind of know, that's how I know, because we've been kind of doing it here.
What do you guys have for like food and stuff? Like what were some of the
there's
dishes
like
you guys
there's like a lot of like we call it chan, which is like kind of, it's like pan fried, it's like battered and pan fried stuff.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So like sweet potato, for example. So my mom, she'll make me like the vegan stuff. So there'll be like sweet potato chan, which is like slight. Oh my God, you would love this. I need to make this for you.
I would be obsessed.
It's like thinly sliced sweet potato.
Right up my alley.
Yeah. And then you like batter it up with like flour, and then you just pan fry it with like lots of oil. It's so good. And then there's
that
like
greasy sensation.
Yeah. And then there's like, what else is there? There's like other like types of like basic things like dipped in flour, pan fried in oil, delicious.
Sounds amazing.
And then my mom also makes like lots of like Korean style like vegetables that you can make into like bibimbap, which is like the mixed rice.
Yeah.
And just like lots of food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like, because you know, and obviously it's like slightly different, but maybe like you're saying that pan fried stuff is like really typical around Korean like New Year's or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like I was thinking like obviously one of the traditions that we have around Christmas or Thanksgiving is we have like a roast dinner. Like that's like the meal that you have at that time. But is there like is there like a specific dish that like you guys would just really have around the New Year's, or is it kind of like just a mixture of all the stuff? I
think it's usually a mixture. Like I know like obviously there's like animal foods and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly if there's like a specific dish. I'm trying to think. Like there's like I think it's more so like there's just like a huge like array of food. Korean food is all about variety.
Yeah.
So we just have like a huge variety of food. It's never like one main dish, I feel like. Yeah, we usually have like lots of side dishes, lots of like, there's like different kinds of fruit. There's like Korean pears, persimmons, and then there's like, oh God, what else? Oh, like rice cakes, like sweet rice cakes, stuff like that.
Sounds
amazing. Oh my God,
amazing.
So much food. I know.
God, I would eat my body weight in food. Especially that fried sensation. Goddamn,
oh my
get
God,
me in
I have
there.
some. I'll let you try some after.
Damn,
yeah, I realized I have some. They brought me some. Ooh. You can try some. But yeah, it's very delicious. So I ate everything. And yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. Drank a little bit. I was a bit exhausted today. Drink some sake. We need to do a sake night. Yes. Remember, okay, for some reason, you guys, when we went to Montreal, we drank so much sake. So random.
But it was so good.
I know, because we kept going to sushi restaurants. So the first 2 nights we went to like sushi restaurants. So we just drank like so much sake.
But it was so,
but you never really drink sake, do you?
No, I don't like.
Have you tried it before?
I definitely had it before, but I just like never had it in that environment, and I haven't had it for years.
Oh my God, we need to like do a sake night.
And it was amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
My mom bought like this big thing of sake for like $20. Like we need to get in on that.
Definitely. There's like that Japanese store. Maybe I'll get some sake cups.
Ooh, that's
because they have really cute
They're
ones.
So cute.
Yeah. And like and it comes with like a weird, not a weird, but like this like sake like pouring thing.
Yeah, yes, because you put it in the thing, and then a lot of people drink it warm. You can drink it warm or cold, but you can like heat it up, and then you have it in the thing, and then you serve it. Oh my God, we need to have a sake night.
I wonder if there's like because I know we're thinking potentially, like obviously this is like not for sure yet, guys, but we're thinking of doing like a mini escape to Vancouver.
Oh,
I wonder if there's like a really good vegan sushi place in Vancouver.
This is my like. Here's the thing. Vancouver is known for sushi, right?
Yeah,
because it's like by the ocean. I get it, whatever.
Yeah.
But like you would think that like, yeah, I know like vegan sushi is not fish. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like you would think that in a city that is right by the ocean, that is pretty like familiar with vegan food, they would have like a really nice sushi place. They don't. I swear. I looked.
We will try. We will Google.
They have one place that had some vegan sushi, but it wasn't like all vegan sushi.
Yeah.
So that place was pretty good, but it's not like Montreal.
Like, what is it with Montreal having like the best vegan food scene in Canada?
Like, we need to go. Should we just scrap Vancouver and just go to Montreal?
I'm down.
Oh God damn, you guys!
I would. I'm like, I have dreams about some of those places.
Honestly, like I just want to go, and even if it's just to eat, I would be happy.
Oh my God, me too.
Like, okay, we will discuss
the food. Yeah, we will discuss after. We'll discuss tomorrow.
Yes.
One of the things I was going to say though, speaking of traveling, I guess so. One of our patrons, Monique, her and her boyfriend have booked your trip to go to Vietnam.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So that's exciting.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh, when did they book to Vietnam?
Yeah, they said they signed up on the trip. So
oh my God, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Was that recent?
2 days ago.
God damn.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, if you want to come with me to Vietnam, check out my.
Is it on your Instagram?
I think it's on. Yeah, go on my Instagram and the link in bio, and then you can sign up. There's still some spots available. Okay.
There you go. Get in there. You get to go to Vietnam. It's a whole like vegan experience.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun.
You get to travel with this one right here.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
I'm a hoot.
Sometimes, guys. Sometimes you're in for a treat. Let me tell you.
I'll be much nicer to you than I am to Daniel.
This is true. I wonder what ailments you're gonna get in Asia, Rose.
Daniel, it's too soon. It's too soon.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to be there, so probably nothing.
Oh my God, I swear, Dad. Did I mention that I feel like you're poisoning me?
Slow and steady, you know.
It's just, I keep watching these mysterious crime shows, listening to true crime, and, things are just looking a little too familiar.
Suspicious and weird.
You just happen to always be around when I have an ailment.
Well, 2 out of the 3 ailments you got this year were from me. Well, not from me, but you got with me.
Which, yes.
Food poisoning, bed bugs.
Yes. And also, I do spend a lot of time with you. So COVID, I mean, who knows?
Okay. That's a stretch. We know who you contracted COVID from.
Anyway, oh my gosh, you guys, there's a lot of news.
There is a lot of shit going on.
It's some fucking shit, like not good shit.
Well, when is there? I wish that there was just like some really nice like news stories.
I'm sure
you know
there
what I
are,
mean?
but like, do we find that boring?
I feel like we've become desensitized to it. Like it's like now in the media, we're so used to seeing all of this like not negativity, but like, it's like what sells headlines, right?
True.
So god damn.
Okay, so let's talk about the thing that's going to give us a lot of hate, which is to be fair, I don't know what my opinion is on this.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on this as well.
So trucker, what is it called? Well, first of all, I hate the name. Freedom Convoy. Like, can we not? But anyway, so the Freedom Convoy, if you guys don't know, right now there is a massive protest in Canada. Although people keep saying different things about how some people are saying it's not as big as we think it is.
Yeah.
Have you heard that
argument?
I've heard
I've heard a bit of it. Like they didn't
I don't know what the truth is.
Yeah, it sounds like there was quite a lot of people down in Ottawa like protesting.
Yes.
So, but I also heard stories that like it got out of control and like this kind of like the initial thought, or not initial thought behind the protests, but it attracts like other groups.
Yeah. So, let's explain what it is first, in case people don't know.
So if you guys haven't been watching the news lately, because it's been pretty big news, like this is global news.
This is global news which is weird because we're in Canada. We usually don't make global news.
This is the thing. Normally Canada, we're like this like not little country, but we're this country that like just doesn't get that much press. And I remember even when I would like travel to like different countries and stuff, like nobody really knows about Canada.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh, you're from Canada.
We're just like the nice neighbors to the US.
They're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, yeah, cool. You know,
in some ways, I kind of like that we are not really in the news because, like we just discussed, news not always a good thing.
And it sucks that this is what we're in the news for.
Exactly. I'm just embarrassed. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk.
Although we were in the news.
Although so many Canadians are like, we're so proud to be Canadian. I'm like, oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Let's have a discussion.
Yeah, let's have a discussion on this, guys. This is going to be controversial.
So it made global news.
Yeah, so it made global news. So basically...
And why did we make global news, Daniel?
So basically there was a mandate that took place, I believe it was January 15th, where the Prime Minister and our government had said that there was going to be a new mandate for truck drivers who were going cross-border. So as you guys know, we're next to the US, so a lot of truck drivers go up and down from US to Canada. And the mandate was going to be that vaccines would be mandatory for those truck drivers. If they were unvaccinated and they crossed the border, they would have to do the quarantine for 14 days.
So before, I think what it was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what it was that because we've had this mandate for everybody, right? But they had an exception for truck drivers.
Yeah.
But then now they've like basically they're saying by January 15th or whatever, they are going to lift that exception.
Yeah.
Anyway, either way, it still will result in truck drivers needing to have a vaccine or you have to quarantine for 14 days, which obviously hinders the job.
Yeah. And it hinders your ability to do the job.
Sure.
And also has downstream impacts, obviously, to our like, because a lot of our global supply especially is relying on trucks because like we get a lot of produce, a lot of food being shipped into Canada because our growing season is very short. As you know, it's fucking cold here sometimes. So we do rely quite heavily on on the truck system and network and truck drivers. Like they're an important part of our, you know, every day.
And an interesting thing is, so right now, basically this freedom thing is them protesting against that. So they don't think that you should be vaccinated. Like that, they don't think that should be like a, you know, thing. So the reason why, but the crazy thing is, apparently 90% of the truck drivers are vaccinated.
That was
fully,
in this article as well. Yeah.
Right. So that's very interesting. But they're saying a lot of them, now I'm not sure how many are actually, you know, doing this, but even the ones that are vaccinated are going to the protests being like, I stand in solidarity.
Yeah. That's basically what's happening. Yeah.
But then what are the controversial things about this? Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean...
we keep going back to this. I mean, okay, well, here's my kind of initial thought, like just to give, I don't know, like
the benefit of the doubt?
devil's advocate, maybe?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. So I'm less like pro-vaccine. I mean, not less pro-vaccine. How do I say this? I'm more pro-vaccine. Like you have to have a vaccine if you are like a paramedic, if you are like a nurse, somebody that's close contact with people.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit more like, I guess I can be more lenient when it comes to something like a truck driver. Yeah. Because like how much true contact do you have with somebody? So that's where I'm kind of like, okay.
There's a little bit of gray area.
Yeah, I do think that part can be debated. I think we can have a discussion about that. I don't know, like, is it actually like a safety concern? Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of like torn.
Yeah, I could see that as well because you're right. Like, I guess, you know, again, I've never worked as a truck driver. I actually personally don't know any truck drivers. Yeah. But I would imagine, like you said, like there's not a lot of human contact. But I guess they are, like, if they're on the road for extended periods of time, they're staying in motels. They're,
that's true.
You know, eating at like cafes and stuff.
True.
So I would say that would have some interaction. And also, I guess the fact that they're going cross border, like if they're not just within Canada, maybe that's a little bit different. But they are going cross border, and that's where I think
there's a lot more people in the U.S.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot more people. Like the chances of, you know, I guess the U.S. has been less stringent on some of their guidelines and restrictions with regards to COVID. If that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. But, you know, they have higher case levels than us. Yeah. They had way more deaths than we did. Like the stats are all out there, guys. You can like look them up. But I think the challenge is like you are moving in and out of different countries. Sure. Right? Like at a regular basis, like constantly. Yeah. So I guess the fear is that the chances of transmitting and bringing stuff back is quite high.
Sure. You know what? God, I was trying. Okay. I was trying to give you something, people. But like, I don't know.
See, and this is where I, you know, for a while, like I'm pro-vaccine, but I'm not necessarily pro-vaccine mandates.
But well, here's the thing. People have a different idea of what mandate means. First of all, a lot of people fucking acting like people are being forced to get a vaccine, which has never been the case anywhere, as far as I know. Maybe in what country was that?
I think it was Austria or something. They were contemplating doing it.
Not in Canada, not in the US. No one has ever forced you to get a vaccine. So let's just get that straight. Yeah. Okay. But obviously we can have a discussion about, you know, when you have a job, and in order to have that job, you have a certain, you know, requirement. And I did hear people saying like, well, you know, truckers have to go through all kinds of other shit as well. Like there's different, like maybe there's other vaccines they have to take. I don't know. Yeah. But it's like, why specifically this? Yeah. Like, this is where it gets me.
Yeah. Well, because like, think about a lot of jobs. And again, I'm not like going to... Yeah. I'm going to obviously maybe my analogies are not like perfect, but like, for example, there's certain jobs that have stringent drug testing where like you're not allowed to take certain drugs or do whatever. And you can't, and you know, you're saying, well, what if I want to put that in my body? You know what I mean? Like
that's a freedom thing. I'm sorry. Well. That's 100% a freedom.
So, but yet some jobs will fire you and say, you know what, actually you can't have these substances in your body, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Like another thing that I was thinking of, and I was thinking about this, like not pragmatically guys, but I was just thinking like, cause at this protest, part of some of the controversies was around the fact that like a lot of these other groups were kind of jumping in on the bandwagon, I guess. And you had people there like with Nazi flags and like all this, like comparing what's happening like to the Holocaust. And
I heard that the founders were like white supremacists, like white nationalists, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I haven't read that anywhere.
So you haven't read that anywhere?
No, I didn't read that they
So you're saying that it didn't start like that?
No.
Okay, interesting.
From what I heard, it started as like a positive, not a positive, but like a few truckers.
Not like, a positive, no.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know. Anyway, so basically the controversy here is that there's been like these other groups that have kind of like joined in with this like protests and stuff.
Sure.
And
they're like white supremacists, racist, like Yeah.
And making it seem like, you know, again, comparing it to the Holocaust, which is like,
people, can we stop?
I know.
Like,
And
I honestly cannot with the Holocaust
I
fucking
know.
comparison.
The thing is, like, I just don't know where to start because the Holocaust was completely different.
I can't even. Why do we have to explain this?
I know. That's what I'm like not understanding. And you know what I don't understand as well? Okay, we're looking at COVID as the way it is. Let's just pretend, like putting an idea out there, guys. Let's just pretend this virus was even more deadly.
At what point would you be okay with some kind of vaccine mandate?
Exactly.
Like, I know people are saying, oh my God, like it's only killing like 1% of whatever. Okay, so what number should we give you? How many people, other than 5 million or something that have died throughout the fucking world?
Yeah.
How many more people need to be dead for you to be okay with any sort of like safety measure?
Yeah.
Because like you're saying freedom. Okay, so then should we just abolish all safety measures?
Yeah.
Because like in the fucking name of freedom.
Yeah. Well, and another point that I wanted to bring up about this is like a lot of countries, and I know that the US, for example, doesn't necessarily have this mandate, but like, let's just, again, hypothetically pretend that Canada was attached to another country where we were getting goods and the truckers were going back and forth. And that country had a mandate or like,
but isn't that what's going on in the US?
It's not the US that's mandating the vaccines.
I heard that. No, not the US, but like somebody wrote, I don't know if it's true, okay, that US also still has like a vaccine rule. So like, let me actually Google this because I'm not sure.
Oh, so you mean like when you travel to the US?
As in, truckers still have to prove in the US that they are vaccinated. No?
Do they?
Let me check.
Because if that was the case, then this wouldn't even be like, I feel like it wouldn't even be.
But that's why people were saying it's stupid, but I'm not sure. I could be totally wrong. Let me just Google this for a second. Foreign truckers must be vaccinated to enter U.S. starting January 22nd. Starting January 22nd, travelers entering the U.S. at land ports of entry, notably along Canadian and Mexican borders and ferry points, who are not U.S. citizens must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But I don't know if it's it does not apply to it does not apply to U.S. drivers. However, Canada and Mexico have similar regulations that do impact U.S. drivers. Okay. Including truck drivers who make cross-border runs.
Exactly. So I mean, it sounds a little bit convoluted. But
does that mean that in the U.S. you have to be vaccinated to enter the U.S.?
That's what it sounds like.
So this is what people were commenting. And again, like, I'm not sure, but it seems like that's what it's saying.
It sounds like that's the case, guys.
So I'm confused because even if you were to, is this just a protest for the sake of protest? Because obviously the U.S., like, they don't give a fuck.
Exactly. So if they're driving down to the U.S., they have to be vaccinated anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So this is just like because it says on January 15th, Canada began enforcing a vaccine mandate at its border crossings directed at foreign truck drivers seeking to enter that country. Unvaccinated Canadian drivers are being allowed to return to their home country, but they must abide by a strict re-entry protocol that includes a mandatory 14-day quarantine period. Yeah. Now we can argue about the 14 days. Like, I'm sure there are, we can argue about the logistics of it. Okay. But yeah, no, it seems like from what I read earlier, it seems that even if you are like, even if we lift this thing,
they still have to get it anyway to go to the US.
I think so.
So
I could be wrong, but anyway, either way,
the whole situation just gets me so irritated and frustrated.
I know.
And I think like, obviously I'm an advocate for public health care. Like I
think it's pretty clear we are both advocates.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know what I want to say, but it's gonna come out so bad, guys. So I don't think I want to say it, but like, it just like frustrates me because a lot of these individuals, and actually we've had people comment on this podcast a few times as well, and in the comment section. Yeah. Which again, we appreciate hearing your comments, and like even if they're not like in line with what we're saying, like if you have a good argument, then put it down there. But like, there's a lot of people that like. There was one person that commented particularly about vaccines, and they were just like really disgusted that we were like talking about how, like basically we were saying one of my personal opinions, which again, there's no perfect way to do anything, right? Like there's always going to be like things that are not going to be working out. But in my mind, conceptually, like I'm thinking, you know, again, I'm not like so much for a mandate where everyone has to get vaccinated.
Sure.
But on the same coin, I'm like, if you choose not to get vaccinated for this, then, you know, like, why should my tax dollars pay for you to take up a bed that's like, you know, if you get COVID, which we have a specific vaccine for that prevents you from going there. So, but then this person was like, oh, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. So how are you going to choose who gets beds and who doesn't? I'm like, that's not what we were saying. Like,
yeah, I think you're trying to misrepresent what we're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We would never say that. And I think it's the same, like the same applies here. Like in some regards, it's like, I honestly, for the life of me, to this exact point in time, I don't understand the hesitation and the conspiracy around the vaccines themselves.
I think
like,
there's just so much misinformation.
Yeah, I have yet for somebody to provide me with any substantial evidence or anything like that refutes this. Like I want to see something where it's like, you know,
they're saying it's an experimental vaccine, which is not true, but they say that.
Yeah.
And they say
based
that
on what though?
Based on the fact that it rolled out fast, based on the fact that they don't believe in science, based on the fact that they're not listening to not like I don't know what the number is, but like the great majority of doctors that are pro-vaccine.
Yeah.
But they listen to that 1% of doctors that are, you know, going against the grain.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't like, I haven't heard a ton of stories of people with, I've heard a ton of stories of people getting COVID and having horrible implications with COVID and dying. I haven't heard anything about like this massive people getting, you know, what are they called?
I'm sure there are side effects and there are issues with the vaccine as well.
Yeah, nothing's perfect.
But the thing is, like, I mean, if you get COVID, it probably will be worse.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway. Either way, this trucker thing. So a few controversies about this trucker thing. First of all, the biggest one is that a lot of the organizers are white supremacists or very white nationalists, which doesn't surprise anybody. They're carrying around like Confederate flags or whatever, and like Nazi. That's whatever.
The worst.
Do they actually have Nazi signs?
Yeah, someone had a swastika.
So are they saying that like they are being like they are the Jews in this situation?
Everyone is saying
God, they're just like dying to be oppressed.
I know. Everyone's saying it's like a very slippery slope. And they're like, first they mandate vaccines, then they're taking away this right, then they take away this right. And I'm like, the thing that gets me is a vaccine is to help you. It's so you don't get sick.
Yes, like
it's not like they're actually taking away like, you know what I mean? They're not like saying
like this is not an argument. Like, oh, why do we have to explain this to grown-ass people?
I know.
Vaccine, when there is, again, what number? At what point would you want people to be vaccinated?
Exactly.
Because how many people have to die for you to think that this is an actual medical emergency? Because, like, to compare this to the Holocaust is not just disgusting.
I know, it's so bad.
It's like, you do realize, like, people were getting killed, right?
Yeah.
Like, the whole point was to exterminate people.
Oh my God.
Not to save people's lives.
I know. That's the like that's what I can't understand.
And what boggles my fucking mind. Oh, now I'm going to say controversial shit that people are not going to like. What boggles my mind is that the only reason why we have returned to some level of normalcy, which first of all, like, let's be honest here. Like, a lot of things are open. Like, people are, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I know you can't, if you're not vaccinated, you can't eat out. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
But the only reason why we have returned to some level of normalcy and the only reason why there aren't like millions more dead is because we chose to get vaccinated. People that chose to get vaccinated. And the only reason why you're able to fucking walk around and be less scared is because people got vaccinated, saving your fucking ass.
I know.
So fuck your fucking freedom. Like, oh.
You know what's crazy though, Rose, is like, I'm just, one of the things that like shocks me so much about this whole situation is like how this has become so politicized.
I don't
how this has become
it.
Such a like, you know, violation against rights and all of this stuff. Like, again, like I really like, I wish that somebody could provide me something. Like maybe I have my blinders on or something. I don't know, but like I have yet to see somebody that makes, or something or some article or some scientific evidence that makes me believe otherwise. Like I really have a hard time believing this. And
I want to see what their demands are.
Probably not to have the mandate.
But like they have like a list, they said.
What?
Let's see. But like, yo, you can't get into the US, bitch. And they don't really care about us. Like, we need them a lot more than they need us.
Yes, because most of our shit comes from the US anyway.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know what you... oh, God. Like, why is this happening?
I know. And it's just like really sad. I don't know. I just
feel bad for people that are working like in a hospital and
Yeah.
just like dealing with this every day,
Oh my
because
God.
just imagine like just I don't know, like yeah.
Imagine you work in like an emergency or something, and you are literally now, because of all this shit, like you're swamped.
Yeah.
And like the emergency was already busy before all this shit happened. Do you know what I mean?
Like we already have like not enough hospital workers.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden this happens, and it's like, holy shit. Like those, that's the person, honestly, out of all this whole political situation and all of this, there's one big loser here, and it's all the people that work in healthcare, unfortunately.
I know.
And it sucks for them. Like everybody that I know that works in healthcare, like I get firsthand, like hearing stories, hearing this kind of shit. And like, it is a terrible situation. So like, I don't know. And even like the crazy thing is like, even those people, like I remember we had an episode like I think this was last year, guys, where there was a couple like conservative talk show hosts that like all got COVID, and on their shows originally, they were like radio show hosts. On their shows originally, they were like very like anti-vaccine. They like didn't believe that the COVID was a scamdemic and everything. And like a couple of them, once they got COVID, literally flipped it around and were like, guys, actually this is real. You need to get vaccinated.
Because
like
conservatives have to get something themselves to believe it. Apparently. Continue.
God damn. But yeah, so I don't know. It's frustrating that it has gotten so divided. And like,
I know.
You know,
I didn't know Canada was so conservative, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew like, you know, we weren't like, I knew that there was definitely some conservatives, but like I didn't know it was.
Don't you think though, like the group that's really protesting all of this stuff? I mean, I know I don't want to say fringe, because I guess that's what Justin Trudeau said, and everyone's
that
like
pissed them
out.
off.
Yeah, everyone's like, this isn't a fringe. It's like we've got
fringe minority.
Yeah, we've got over like 270,000 Facebook followers for this protest or something. I don't know.
Well, there's definitely a lot of people that, you know, well, okay. Maybe it's not fringe, but like a lot of the majority of Canadians are vaccinated.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. That's what I mean. Like, I think it's like 75 or 80%.
But then they're going to say, oh, well, some of the vaccinated are still like for the truckers, like for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't see what the big deal is. And like one of the things as well, guys, that's like another one of my arguments or things that I can't see clearly, I guess. And if anyone has a comment on this, like feel free, leave it in the comment section. I will read it. But it's like, I don't get the hypocrisy of like saying, hey, I'm not going to trust certain types of medicine. I'm not going to trust certain vaccines. But the second that I get sick, or the second that I like end up with some kind of illness, I will then fully trust the professionals that are working in the hospitals and
that are administrating
any kinds of medication. Like at that point, I trust everything. But until
at that point,
then,
do you know what they're putting in your body? Do you know everything about it?
Exactly. Like if you're in the ER or you're in emergency or something, and like they have to stick certain drugs in you, you're not going to be like, against my rights here, don't actually do this. Like, and they're like, well, sir.
I think some of them actually do refuse.
Yeah, but then, I mean,
but I'm like, why are you at the hospital, bitch?
Exactly. Why did you even show up here? Like, okay, cool. Like, see you later. Like, bye.
Oh God. It's sad though, because I think so many people get like, the thing is, I try to take a step back and be like, okay, I feel bad for these people at the same time, because I feel like there's so much misinformation and people get so misinformed and they believe all this. They get brainwashed. Yeah. And then a lot of them die as a consequence. I know. Which is so sad. And they die alone, like, because they can't, you know, be in contact with people. I mean.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's horrible.
Yeah. Which is why, like, it's so bad when you, like, see, you know, people saying so much misinformation, because it's like, you don't know what you're doing, right? Yeah. And you're potentially killing people, you know? Indirectly, but still.
I know.
I don't know. It's fucked up. Well, another thing that caused controversy about this whole freedom thing, freedom convoy. Oh my God, the freedom. If I hear the word freedom again, I swear to fucking Christ.
It's against my freedom. I don't want you to give me a vaccine that's going to save my life. Oh, you're violating my rights. This is like the Holocaust. It's like literally vaccines are meant to save people.
Yes.
Like what?
How is it? Like it's literally the opposite of the Holocaust. I don't understand. Okay. If it was the Holocaust, all the vaccinated people would be dead. Yeah. Okay. I don't understand the point here.
I know.
Oh,
They say it's a slippery slope, you know. They're like, oh, first it's the vaccine mandates, then it's going to be our next right, then it's going to be our right to do this, and before you know it, the government controls everything.
Is there one Jew out there that thinks this is like the Holocaust? Because I would fucking love to speak to that person.
I mean,
God, if I was Jewish, I would be so fucking offended right now. Are you kidding me? Like, are you actually kidding me?
I know.
Anyways. Another controversy about this freedom fucking convoy.
The freedom convoy.
Pissing me off more. Yeah. Is the controversy is that apparently they are demanding homeless shelters give them food. Have you heard this?
No.
See, this is where I started.
Oh, is this where they while they're in Ottawa, they're wanting the homeless shelters to give them food?
So at first I was like, again, I was torn on this. I'm obviously leaning more toward, again, being like, fuck this shit. But, anyway, when I started hearing about white supremacy, all that shit, Confederate flags, and then now this, so they're starting to demand homeless shelters give them food because apparently they can't go get food. I'm like, so you're going to take food away from homeless shelters because why can't you go get food? This is why I can't take you seriously. Okay, vaccine, I can somewhat give you a little bit of leniency, right? Because obviously it is like a vaccine you put it in your body. Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah. But the same, most of the time, not always, most of the time, it's the same people that don't want to wear a mask, that don't want to social distance, that didn't want to social distance, that didn't want to do anything to prevent spread. Yeah. So I can't take you seriously, right? Yeah. Because so many of you fuckers, I'm sorry, but so many of you people refuse to wear a mask, which is like the bare minimum you could do. And don't tell me that maybe there's 0.01% out there that actually can't wear a mask. I don't even know if that is the truth.
But again, to your point, at what point does the severity of the virus need to get before you're
do we
actually
need a 50% death rate?
Exactly. Maybe,
what do you want?
Maybe then at a 50% death rate, people will actually get the vaccine. Do you know what I mean? I know we're not there yet, but imagine we get another pandemic and the death rate's even higher. A quarter of people that get this virus die. Yeah. At that point, is a mandatory vaccine okay, or a vaccination? Is that going to encourage you to get that over the mild maybe adverse effect that you might get from the vaccine? At that point, does the risk outweigh? You know what I mean? That's where I'm really torn. And I think even with this, from everything that I've read and everything that I've seen, the actual implications and risks of getting COVID far outweigh any adverse effects that you're going to get from the vaccine. So that's why I'm at what point does the scale tip? Do you know what I mean? That's where I really struggle with this. And I don't know.
It's fucked up.
If the US is making it kind of a thing too for travelers anyway, including truck drivers, this is really a non-argument, guys. Unfortunately, it's if you go to a different country and you have to get a certain vaccine. Unfortunately, that's just the case of what it is. You want to you want to travel somewhere, and I guess that's your choice. It's not your job, but if your job is to go there, you might have to get I don't know, certain vaccines. If you go to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a place, but didn't you have to get some vaccines when you went to Africa?
I went to Africa, and then I had to get I spent $1,000 on vaccines. I got yellow fever vaccine, some sort of malaria pills. I got some other stuff. I got a bunch of stuff because you have to you have to have certain vaccines when you go, and that's just again, no one is forcing you, right? But at the same time, there are consequences to you choosing not to do something, right? For example, a lot of kids, I don't think you can go to school, a public school, without getting certain vaccines. I'm pretty sure. And nobody had a problem with this other than the very, very fringe anti-vaxxer people before COVID.
I think that's an important point to make. And I think we did talk about this in other podcast episodes, guys, is all of our choices, we have the freedom of choice, but every choice does have consequences, right? Yes. If you are choosing not to do something, there might be societal consequences. Do you know what I mean? There might be those consequences. You still have the choice at that point, what you want to do. But it's you're saying, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to not do this and still have everything else that I wanted. You can't just have everything, unfortunately we live in a society. You're not by yourself on an island. You know what? If you're by yourself on a motherfucking island, you never see anyone. Guess what? You can do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? You want to wake up and walk around naked, go for it. You don't want to get a vaccine because of XYZ reasons. You probably couldn't get it out in the island anyway, but doesn't matter, right? You can literally do whatever the fuck you want. But we don't live like that. We live in a society. We have to consider the other people that are around us. And I think this is where I get frustrated as well. It's anyway, I know we could go on about this topic forever. I think probably some of our listeners are sick of hearing us talk about this as well.
I'm sick
so
of
I apologize,
talking about
guys.
it, but this keeps coming up. God damn. Well, speaking of which, this is kind of related because we're talking, there's another thing we love to talk about, Joe Rogan.
Oh, goddamn.
So that's the next controversy.
What happened?
Have you heard about this?
What happened to Joe Rogan? I
mean,
I saw
he's
something come
always
up on my
in some
feed.
kind of controversy.
Yeah.
So I guess because I don't know if you know, so he is on Spotify. I think it's an exclusive contract with Spotify.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he got paid like $500 million or something
Which
crazy.
is insane.
Okay, to have those dumbass fucking conversations.
Do you
But
think we
anyway.
could sell our podcast to Spotify for $500 million?
Well, I mean,
Just kidding.
so he. I guess so. He started getting backlash. I mean, he's been getting backlash for a while for spreading COVID misinformation, and so the recent controversy is that certain artists, Neil Young is the one that people keep quoting. He actually decided to, as a protest against Spotify, because they were saying Spotify is like condoning this misinformation.
It's allowing and they're promoting it.
So Neil Young decided to take his music off of Spotify. So then other artists are also doing the same. And I think Spotify got some kind of hit, like potentially in the stock price or something.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of controversy where basically there are people saying, you know, Joe Rogan can do whatever he wants, like whatever, it's his podcast.
Yeah.
You know, and people talking about freedom of speech, yada, yada, yada. And then there's the people on the other side that are saying like he's spreading very dangerous COVID misinformation. And then Joe Rogan made this like little video where here's the thing with Joe Rogan, like he will say all kinds of shit and then he'll like backpedal and then pretend that he doesn't know anything and that he's neutral. Like this is where people are like calling him out on because again, I don't listen to like his full episodes because I'm sorry, they're not that interesting. I don't understand.
And the thing is, I do feel like, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I haven't watched or listened to Joe Rogan forever, but I did see snippets from like older episodes.
Yes.
And I thought he was pretty like
I know,
good
right?
back in the day.
He's changed.
Yeah.
He has like fully done
because I remember one of my favorite ones, guys, and
Candace
I quote this.
Owens.
Yes, and I quote it all the time. It's when he was like calling out Candace Owens, basically.
Yes, because Candace Owens was like, I don't believe in climate change. And he's like, what are you talking? See, that's the crazy thing is because he was very like, you know, I don't know if he still is, but he was definitely like, you know, climate change is real.
Yeah.
Like we need to do something. Because Candace Owens was like, I don't believe in climate change. And then he's like, well, you know, you can't just not say you don't believe in it. Like there are scientists, like the majority of scientists are in consensus that climate change is real. This is like a real thing.
But then I loved it because didn't Candace Owens at that episode, she was like, oh, well, I'm actually like neutral or something. And then he's like, yeah, but you can't say that you don't believe in it and then say that you know what I mean.
Right.
You can't do that. Like you
but
can't
that's what Joe Rogan is exactly doing right now, right? So what he's doing is like, for example, so anyway, his rebuttal video where he was like, you know, explaining himself about the whole Spotify controversy. He was basically like, hey guys, I'm just like a guy, you know, having conversations. All I want to do is ask questions, have conversations. And so there's 2 specific episodes apparently that have drawn the controversy because he's platformed these 2 people that are very like, I don't know if they're fully anti-vaccine, but they're definitely like drawing up some hesitancy, saying things that are potentially, you could say, is COVID misinformation. Again, I didn't listen to it, so I don't want to fully say whatever. Either way, they are, you know, and they have credentials, right? So they, you know, their names have doctor on them.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before where it's like, as soon as you put the name doctor on something, people immediately trust what you say, especially when they say exactly what you want them to say. Yeah. So even if 90% of doctors say the COVID vaccine is real, you just find that one doctor that says no, and then you believe everything he says because he has the name doctor on it. Like, what the fuck?
What's that called when you like, you know what I mean? When you
appeal to authority?
No, it's when you refute everything except the one thing that follows your belief. Like there's a word for it.
I think it's oh god, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like the flat earthers.
No, but seriously, oh god, I know exactly what there is a term.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he basically was like, oh, those 2 episodes, what did he say? He's like, I'm just asking questions. These guys are, you know, are they're very, you know, respected in their field, probably not anymore. Anyway, respected in their field, and they're just saying some things that go against the mainstream narrative. So I'm just trying to have a conversation. And he's like, I also have other people that, you know, are on the other side. And then the criticism from what he said there is, first of all, you're not just having conversations, Joe Rogan. You definitely have an opinion about the vaccine. Yeah. You've voiced it many times on your show about how you don't think young people that are healthy should need the vaccine. Like you've said shit like this constantly over the last few months. Yeah. Let's not like, can you at least like acknowledge that is your belief? Why do you pretend that you're neutral on this? You're not. So first of all, you're not neutral. Second of all, people are making this comparison. I think it's a good comparison. For example, that's like saying we need to have both sides. You can't both sides of the argument all the time when one side is severely misinformed and one side is not. So for example, people that say we need to have both sides argument with flat earthers and what
round earthers.
What do you call, like,
I don't even know, but
I think they call them like globers. I don't know what they're called.
But you're right. Oh my god, that's actually, you know what, I'm loving that we're getting into the flat earth thing because they're my favorite group of people.
Oh god.
No, but I'm okay, like, guys, I'm taking the piss a little bit, but like obviously I feel for those people because I do feel like some people just got sucked into that, like,
yes,
just like
the
cult
COVID
mentality
thing.
Yeah, but like, again, it's like looking at that exact, and I'm sure there will be flat earthers that disagree with me, but you have the group that says the earth is flat, and then you have the group that says the earth is round, right? Like, there is no scientific evidence or anything to corroborate their claim.
Yes.
Yet there is so much scientific evidence and so much,
Yes.
statistics and pictures and everything to corroborate that the earth is round. So it's almost like the same thing.
Yes. So exactly. So it's like you are not having you can't say you're having a neutral conversation when one side is clearly like there's so much more on one side. It's the same thing with climate change, for example.
Climate change is another
That's
perfect
like saying
one.
I'm gonna platform, one doctor that, believes in climate change, and then I'm gonna platform one doctor that doesn't. And I'm like, you can't have an equal argument when it's not equal. But the people listening don't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And then especially when you have people that have the name doctor on it, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing because you know that people are going to immediately trust what this person says because they have credentials. Yeah. And it's like, it's just,
It's funny because we use those extremes like climate change and obviously like flat earth versus round earthers, I want to call them, or like,
what are they even called? They call them something.
Yeah.
The flat earthers
basically
like to
everyone
call
else.
us something. Yes.
Yeah, everyone else. So again, I feel like, this is a really extreme example, but I do feel like, and I would, obviously we're never going to know if this could happen, but I bet you if Joe Rogan on his podcast had like doctors and people talking, or like scientists talking about flat earth, and he was like right behind that, people would be questioning it more.
Of course.
They'd be like, but because this vaccine has created such this divide of people.
Yeah.
And you have so like, well, not like so many people, but you have people on that side that are, believing like this, like, again, a handful of, doctors and scientists that are saying no versus the vast majority and the statistics to back it up.
Yeah.
So, but I was funny because I mentioned this, and I think someone wrote in one of the comments about like how like vegans were like seen like that, like we're like a fringe group.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. There are some vegans. I don't think it's like the majority of vegans. Okay. I just think there are definitely like a subset of vegans, subgroup. Usually they're raw vegans. Like the Fraley type,
Fraley.
The frugivores.
Hi, Fraley.
Hi, Fraley.
Thanks for watching.
The frugivores that don't eat wartime food. Yeah. Anyway, so I can't get over it. So the Freely types, you know what I mean? Like the people that are just kind of in their own world, you know, like they're very like natural, like they don't believe in modern medicine. They think they think food is the healer of all. They think it's like perfectly normal to lose your period and just like crazy shit, right? Yeah. So there's that group, which is not a big percentage of vegans, okay? Let's be fair here. But they definitely, they stand out. So we kind of like, pay attention. But there's definitely those people that I'm sure are anti-vax.
Yeah. But, and again, I think like, just like going back to that, it's like, vegan, like why I think this person might have brought it up though is because in the past, but again, it's a little bit different because I feel like scientists and doctors back in the day, they were funded by like, meat companies and things like that. So like to push the meat narrative, to be like, this is what you need for your food pyramid,
sure,
all of this stuff versus that fringe group that they said was the vegans at the time. But actually as it's coming out, they're the ones that are right. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So that was the argument.
Yeah. So they kind of started off being that small fringe group, but I think it's a little bit different because, and this is my reasoning, is because those like vegan studies and those doctors that are doing those studies and everything else, there's no argument against it. Because once you present those studies, like actually when you compare someone's diet that's on meat versus like a vegan, there's no scientific substance to what the other side was saying. Whereas with the vaccines, it's a different story.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it would be different. So actually, that's a very good point. So what I'm trying to say, guys, I know this is sounding really confusing, but what I'm trying to say is like, if that was the case, like let's say climate change was the same as like this like fringe group of vegans, the fringe group of scientists that don't believe in climate change, they would have very strong studies
Right.
to show that it doesn't exist versus the vast majority
Right.
that's following some looser studies.
Right. That are
But that-
all being paid by some sort of
Exactly.
right.
So that's where the differences lie, I think.
Sure.
That's a very different kind of conceptual.
Yeah.
Now that I think it through, I'm like, actually, no. Like, because again, that small fringe group, again, it's like flat earthers, all of those people, they're believing these things, but all of their studies and their hypothesis and everything, nothing is supported. Like,
Right.
you can't support it with.
Right. You
with
should
any
be
sort-
able to support.
Exactly. Like a good hypothesis can be supported through science, through testing. And if the testing doesn't result in your hypothesis, the hypothesis has to change.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to try to just do a different study.
Exactly.
Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So
So because just look at the evidence. Like, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just look at the evidence. But people are saying, because it's not such a big deal, like I don't need to get the vaccine. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I mean, so that's the criticism to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So people are saying like, yeah, you're not really being honest here with like your motive.
Yeah.
Because we already heard, like we're not stupid. Like millions of people listen to the podcast. Like we've heard him say. I'm sure even the people on his side are probably like, dude, like you've definitely, you definitely have a side. It's okay to have an opinion. Just say it.
Exactly. So Rose, what would you do if you were to go on a date with a guy and he's like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I was listening to a really good Joe Rogan podcast the other day. Really inspired me.
I'd text you and be like, can you call me with an emergency? Oh God, I just don't even know if I'd have the strength to have that debate.
Would that be one of those dates that you'd actually walk out of?
The thing is, I don't think I could walk out of a date.
I don't think I could either.
But at the same time, I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I would definitely, I would probably have, one drink. Oh God. Maybe two, just for entertainment value.
Yeah. I think it's almost like, in those situations.
You might want to stay a little bit because you're like, how far gone is this person?
See what's going to happen. Honestly, actually, some of my best dating stories.
Right? It's always the bad ones.
It is.
It's never the good ones that are good stories. It's like traveling stories, right?
This is true.
Like fun, great travels with no problems, nothing to tell. When fucking shit hits the fan, I get bed bugs, I get fucking, whatever.
Where do you think the nickname European Rose came from?
From all the shit hitting the fan.
Your shit was everywhere. Let me tell you, Rose.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's worth staying the date because I have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And
almost it's kind of interesting because like you meet somebody and you're like, I'm just gonna have fun with this.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna just probe them.
I know.
Maybe challenge them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
be like, so why do you believe the things that you believe?
Exactly.
Oh God.
So give me a little bit more information on this.
Get some insider information.
Yeah. I had honestly, guys, some of my craziest shit happened on dates.
Okay, what's the next story? Do you have a story?
I don't. That was my last. My one and only Rose.
Oh goddamn! I have a story.
Oh goddamn!
This one's a little bit of a light. Well, kind of. We'll discuss it. So
let's dive
I'm sure you haven't heard of it, although you've recently been on TikTok, so maybe you have heard of it. So have you heard of West Elm Caleb?
No.
Okay, so there's a big story.
Okay.
It's become a big story because it's gotten more serious. Well, it rubbed me the wrong way to begin with when I started. Do you want some mote?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, so I spend probably an unhealthy amount of time on TikTok, although
3 hours a day.
Oh God, I really try not to. But anyways, so I started coming across these like videos about West Elm Caleb, and I was like, what the fuck is this, right? So it's these girls, like, sometimes on TikTok people talk about their dating stories and stuff, and it's always rubbed me the wrong way when they start putting like, when girls start doing like, and I know people put it out there, but it's still a little when people start screenshotting like dating profiles and just like showing people's faces like full on.
Not good.
I'm like, okay, like I get it again. Like they are putting it out there to the public, but that TikTok is like a very viral platform, and it's just, I don't know.
Icky.
It rubs me off. Yeah.
It rubs you off.
It rubs me the wrong way. Anyways, so either way. So these girls start talking about West Elm Caleb, and basically I guess it's this guy that lives in New York that is a little bit of a player, maybe like a little bit of a fuck boy.
Okay. Yeah. And plenty of those in New York.
Yeah. So I guess like one girl, maybe, I don't know the full story, but I guess one girl started talking about some experience that she had with this guy in New York. And I think it stayed anonymous at first. And then another girl maybe was like, oh my God, I had the same experience. Are you talking about West Elm Caleb? And then more girls kept jumping in being like, oh my God, I was talking to the same guy, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, like, people started just posting his picture and just outing him. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he does sound like maybe a little bit of a douche. Like, he was ghosting girls and stuff like that. But, like, come on. Is ghosting okay? Here, he's like maybe I think he's in his 20s, 25 maybe. Okay. And are you gonna Google it? And I don't know. To me, it just felt kind of gross. It was like it's like you're doxing somebody, you know, like you're exposing someone, and for nothing. The thing is, this guy, there he is. Yeah, that one. The crazy thing is all these girls just started talking about him and like all these things, like exposing the text messages, like showing everything, and basically being like, there's this one girl that was like, oh my God, like, so we were on a date, and then like I found out through like investigation that like that day that he was on a date with me, he woke up with some other girl like in the morning. I'm like, girl, you've seen this guy once. He's allowed to date other people.
Exactly.
Like I get it. Maybe he's a little douchey, and yeah, ghosting someone is like not nice.
No. And
you shouldn't do that. But like, so is exposing someone on TikTok, a viral platform.
Plus, I think there's like an unwritten rule, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but like if you're messaging somebody, like generally that's not for like to be put on a public platform.
Oh, you're new to the internet, aren't you, Daniel?
No, I'm not. I know that everybody wants fucking read receipts. Even though, guys,
you and the read receipts, is that how it's called?
Read receipts?
I don't know. You always say read receipts, and I'm like, is that what people call?
Maybe
them?
they're just called receipts.
Yeah,
people want.
You always call them read receipts.
I thought that's what they're called.
Term? They call them receipts.
I think. Everybody wants to see the receipts.
But I want you to keep calling them read receipts.
Everyone wants to read receipts. And you know what? Honestly, there is such thing as Photoshop. I don't know how to use it personally, but other people do, and they could easily fake that shit. Like the internet. Oh my God. Speaking of fake shit, was there a little bit more you want to say?
I mean, I just think it's kind of like
seedy.
Yeah, I think the girls are in the wrong. I do. Like, yeah, if somebody fucked you, listen, grow up. I'm sorry, grow up. People ghost people. Yeah, again, it's shitty behavior.
It sucks.
But you know what's shittier behavior is like fucking blasting someone's photo
all
that you haven't.
Internet.
Here's the thing, you haven't even dated him. And I've seen people do that with people that they've dated and stuff too. And I'm like, oh God, that also, like, I get it, they did you wrong, but also it's like two wrongs don't make a right. I don't know.
And you also don't know, like, I'm not defending this guy whatsoever, but like, you also don't know someone's personal situation,
exactly.
Right? Like, you like.
I'll defend this guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've done shitty behavior when I was in my 20s. Like, yes, I've ghosted some people. Okay.
I have too.
But like, imagine if I ghosted someone and then like I went viral for ghosting someone that I met once. Okay, most of these girls, it sound like they met like once.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're allowed. Maybe he just wasn't into them. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, you know my rule about ghosting? Have I told you?
No. What's your rule about ghosting?
I have a dating rule about ghosting. Okay. Now I don't know. Maybe I changed my mind about this now.
This was young 20s Rose.
No. Okay.
Mid 20s.
Oh, maybe it is actually mid 20s Rose. Yeah. But I still kind of stand by this in a way. So my rule is, if you've only gone on a date with this person once, or have seen them just once, and they ghost you, quote unquote, it's not really ghosting.
Yeah.
Because there's your answer.
Like a relationship.
Yes, you have not developed anything beyond anything. Yeah. Okay, when somebody does not talk to you after the first date, that's basically your closure, and that's basically your sign that they are not interested.
Exactly.
Okay, like, move on.
Exactly.
Okay, you've seen them once. This guy does not owe you an explanation. In my opinion, you've seen them once. When you're in your 20s, it's very uncomfortable to say to someone, I don't want to see you anymore.
Exactly.
Again,
especially if you've gone out with them once and it was a shitty date. You're not going to be like, oh.
I mean, nowadays I would still say like something. I'd just be like, it didn't work out, whatever.
Yeah.
But if somebody like ghosted me after the first date, yeah, it kind of feels like shit. But like, you move on. Okay.
You're not going to put it on your YouTube channel?
I'm not going to put it on my YouTube channel and fucking expose the read receipts.
The read receipts everywhere, guys.
Look how nice he was to me yesterday before we met up. Well, bitch, maybe he didn't like you after you met up.
Exactly. You know what the thing is too, though, guys? This is actually a good thing to note is, I guess maybe it's like a lesson for all of us to be a bit more filtered on our messages, knowing that anybody could just like Rose could just like expose me and like put all these like
I got messages, all the read receipts.
I know. Put all our messages on blast and be like, look at Daniel. He's not as nice as he seems. Look at all of his shitty saying. But you know, I think TikTok, and actually this is a kind of interesting thing, guys. Like, again, it shows you how fake social media is, and TikTok is perfect. So I have been on TikTok quite a lot, and me and Rose were just like talking because like I was talking about like, you know,
oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. And I happened to see this TikTok video of these guys, and I saw a few videos of them. They like came up in my feed.
They're like kind of hot but douchey.
Yeah, they're hot but douchey guys. I mean, I wouldn't say no.
They are very hot, I will admit.
Yeah. Yes. But they're all like, oh, the little title would be like, you won't believe that I'm like over 50, but I am. You know what I mean? Like all of it was like they were over 50. And I was like, holy fuck.
They
like,
look so good.
These guys look good for their age.
Because I've spent a little bit more time on TikTok than Daniel did.
Yeah.
So he sent that to me. And immediately I knew, I kind of knew one of them because he was like Insta famous.
Yeah.
And I thought he was hot before. But like what they do is so cringe that I don't find them attractive.
It's so bad.
The TikTok thirst traps are so cringe.
Oh, and there's so many of them. I'm always like, next.
Anyways, so because I could tell, okay? Yeah. So like, because I know people do this. So basically it's like a thing that people do on TikTok where basically they like pretend.
Engagement.
Exactly. They want people to like comment on your video being like, oh my God, I can't believe you look so young. So it'll be like, oh, I'm basically like 45. Like, oh yeah, and I look so good. And these people are like in their 20s.
Yeah.
So they're just like fake looking young so that they can get more engagement with people commenting, blah blah blah. And so I told Daniel, I was like, they are 100% not like above the age of 45, like 100%. And I
was like, well, why would they post that?
I know, right?
Like it's so stupid
to get engagement, to get viral.
It's like another one of my big pet peeves. I hate when people do this to a T. It's like those people on Instagram that literally follow everybody. They'll like follow thousands of people. Yeah. And then they just they wait till those people follow them back or whatever. It's like a game that they play to get more followers, and then they just unfollow everyone.
But I heard that like they kind of crack down on accounts like that. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I know some people that
really
have done that.
Oh my God, honestly I can't. I just don't even know how you have the time to do that.
Well, exactly, it's just so stupid.
Plus you're not even developing a genuine audience.
Exactly, that's the whole even these guys that are like putting all these videos out there that I'm over 50, like they might get some engagement from their videos, but people are gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah,
but you know how TikTok is. You can get famous from the dumbest shit.
So
I think if you were to do some dumb shit like that, you pick the perfect platform because
that's so true.
And people forget about your TikToks like immediately. Yeah. It's so stupid.
It's such a what's it called? Just like quick.
Yeah. Like
quick
dopamine
media.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
There is some funny stuff on there though. I love the like dating stuff, like especially.
I love how we see the same ones.
I know, that's so crazy.
Daniel always sends me one, and then I'm like, oh my God, I must be spending way too much time on TikTok because I've already seen like the 3 that you've just sent me.
Yeah, so I'll be like, oh my God, this is so funny. This one's about dating, and like,
oh my God, honestly, God. I cannot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the TikTok story. So people stop fucking posting your fucking
breakups and your
stop. Like honestly, people
shit.
need to have boundaries. Is this like the new generation? Like people, this is a public platform. You can like ruin someone's life doing this. This is a form of bullying in my opinion. And like, I get, and the thing is people are arguing like if the tables were turned, imagine like if it was a girl that did this kind of stuff, like if the girl was Caleb, okay?
Yeah.
And then there was like a bunch of dudes that got like fucked over by her.
And they all posted.
And then they all posted it. What would happen?
Yeah.
They would be outraged. Girls wouldn't be okay with this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do want to rant about one more thing.
Yeah.
About TikTok.
Oh God damn.
This fucking annoys me. So TikTok, I feel like is such a...
Say it how it is.
It's like a very divisive platform. There's like very extreme. There's like extremes on both sides. There's like the really perfectly curated, like, oh my God, I wake up at 5 a.m. I go for the run. I drink green juice. I look beautiful in my workout clothes, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then there's the girls that's wearing sweatpants being like, fuck this shit. Like, so you know what? Great. Yeah. Something for everybody. Yeah. But there's also some nasty shit on TikTok that obviously goes viral and stuff, which is like lots of misogyny, lots of guys like saying really like nasty shit about girls, which I've seen like a lot of, which obviously is gross. Like don't like it. You know, guys saying like, oh my God, women are to be like crazy shit. Like women are to be looked at, not listened to or something, not
but
heard.
Even more graphic than that. Like, oh, if your girl don't go down when you get a new girl, you know, like things like this. Yeah, stupid shit like this. It's crazy.
Which for sure we should be, responding to that, being like, that's not okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then I see people, and these people are very popular, okay? So there's girls that respond to that, which again, fair enough, we should be responding. Yeah. But then they'll like dig from like a really, how do I say, they stoop to their level almost, being like, well, you look like you're 5'2", you look like, oh, look at that receding hairline. Yeah. Look at the pimples, like just picking at their appearance. Yeah. And I'm like, first of all, you don't need to do that to get your point across. Yeah. And like, second of all, don't you think that's more like, that's going to radicalize people more? Because one of the reasons, I mean, again, I don't want to say that this is an excuse for misogynistic behavior, but I think one of the reasons is that, men are, maybe they also have insecurities, which they are showing through their misogyny, right? Yeah. And the more that we like make fun of those things, which is unnecessary. Yeah. you know, the more that's gonna, you know, radicalize people more. Because maybe one guy was being an asshole and you made fun of his appearance, but there's gonna be 10 other guys that are watching this. Maybe they're 17 years old. Maybe they're short. Maybe they have, you know, receding hairlines or pimples, all kinds of, and they are listening to this being like, oh, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying this, but I look like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is that necessary?
It's not. It just becomes like a really messy platform and place when that kind of shit happens. And I think, like, honestly, with this whole Caleb story as well, it's like, oh my God, like, imagine dating somebody and breaking up, but breakup is hard enough already.
Yeah.
But imagine your shit gets blasted on fucking TikTok and goes viral. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Especially because the amount of people that are on TikTok now, it's like, you know, your job could get impacted.
I know.
You could have people at work knowing about shit. And it's like, first of all, it's none of their business. And secondly, like, why are you posting that shit? Like, I'm like paranoid now to fucking get in a relationship and fucking be broken.
Honestly.
And
it's true,
you know, broken up with, and then that happened.
And then they like post shit about you. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I mean, first of all, punishment does not fit the crime. Okay. Like, again, fucking don't air out your dirty laundry on TikTok of all places.
I know.
It's so inappropriate. I don't know. It's fucked up. And of course you're going to go viral because people want that shit because it's like, you know, it's like juicy content.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
God
just
damn.
And one day it's gonna come biting you in the ass if you keep doing shit like this.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Anyway, guys, I think that the lesson here is to spend less time on TikTok.
Yes.
TikTok is
dangerous platform.
It is. I've talked about this before. Out of all the social media platforms, I feel like it is the most dangerous, only because, like, I'm not kidding you. Again, the other night I was like, hey, because there is some funny shit on there, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go on for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
An hour goes by. Hour and a half. Next thing I know, it's like midnight. I was like, fuck, I wanted to go to bed early.
Yeah.
And this shit happens.
I know.
Oh my God.
1 hour a day we're allowed.
Oh,
no, 30 minutes.
Not even an hour.
30 minutes.
I'm going to try to avoid that place, Rose.
100%.
Yeah.
Daniel, well, I still have to watch this to, you know, keep on top of the trends.
That's true. You do.
See, I still need to be, that's the thing. When you start spending time on TikTok, then you start to notice all the trends, right? Yeah. You have to actually spend a little bit of time on there to notice all the trends, but then you get sucked in.
Yeah. Oh God.
I know.
Oh God.
It's bad.
And on that happy note, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. Please feel free to share, if you're watching on YouTube, your comments in the comment section. I'm sure we're going to get some hate for them truckers.
Some heated comments.
There's going to be some heated comments, you know, guys. Anyway, you know, if you want to put your comment down there, just, I think, what I would say is be kind. Not be kind, but like, what am I trying to say?
Oh, God. Like, can I just say one last thing about the trucker thing? I just want to say we are not trying to be like force everybody to get vaccinated. Like we're trying to think of the greater good, and we're trying to actually like don't
think pragmatically about it.
We're trying to think about like public safety, okay, and trying to get past this pandemic. The reason why we want more people to be vaccinated is because the more people are vaccinated, the less this pandemic goes rampant
and our lives go back to normal.
Exactly. So we're just trying to make less people suffer by more people getting vaccinated, and the more we follow these health protocols. These are health protocols. Like it's nothing more, nothing less.
I know.
Anyway, that's our intention anyway, and that's the intention of health professionals.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that, Rose. I appreciate that.
Because people are gonna say like, oh, we're just trying to be like, you know, like we're anti-freedom.
I know.
Ugh. Anyway, guys.
On a happy note, again, what I was going to say is like, yeah, feel free, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to leave some comments in the comment section below. We do read those, so we appreciate that, guys. Give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe. If you're not already, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. And if you're following us, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, click that follow button, and that way you get updated as soon as there's a new episode. And what else, Rose? And
make sure you subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes.
Because you get all the bonus episodes. So go subscribe to our Patreon. It starts at only as little as $3 a day.
A month.
A month. God damn it. Why do I keep saying
I don't know. I don't know where you got that
$3
from.
a month, which is basically less than a Starbucks coffee.
Yep.
So come join us. You could get a bunch of new content, a bunch of exclusive content, and you can check out all of our old exclusive episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.